A classified intelligence report just leaked to CNN, the Financial Times, and independent Russian investigators. And what's inside it should change everything you thought you knew about Vladimir Putin. Because according to European intelligence agencies that spy on the Kremlin for a living, Putin is not the man in control you see on television. He is hiding. He has been hiding in reinforced underground bunkers for months. And the people closest to him, the men who built his empire, who protected his secrets, who carried out his orders without question, are now being watched, surveilled, suspected. Putin doesn't just fear Ukraine anymore. He fears the people sitting in the same room as him. And tonight, we have the classified document that proves it. Before we go further, drop a comment right now. Did you think Putin's inner circle would ever turn against him? Yes or no? Let's see what this community thinks. To understand how serious this is, you need to understand what Russia looked like just 3 years ago. Putin was untouchable. His grip on power was so absolute that Western intelligence agencies had stopped even speculating about internal threats. The men around him, Sergei Shoigu, Valery Gerasimov, Alexander Bortnikov, were loyal extensions of his will. Nobody inside the Kremlin dared whisper a word against him. His propagandists defended him on national television every single night. His bodyguards would die for him. His generals executed his orders without question. That was the reality of Putin's Russia. A system so tightly controlled that the word coup was not just dangerous, it was unthinkable. But that was then. And what European intelligence is now describing is something completely different. Something that suggests the walls Putin spent 25 years building are quietly cracking from the inside. The document obtained by CNN describes what has been happening inside the Kremlin since March 2026, and the details are extraordinary. Every single visitor to the presidential administration now undergoes 2 full rounds of screening, including complete body searches by the Federal Protective Service. Every person who works near Putin is banned from using any phone with internet access. They cannot take public transport. They travel only in FSO, Federal Protective Service vehicles. Security cameras have been secretly installed inside the private homes of Putin's personal cooks, his photographers, and his bodyguards. Read that again. Putin's own bodyguards are being surveilled inside their own homes. He no longer trusts the people whose entire job is to protect him. But the most alarming detail in the entire report is this. Putin has stopped visiting his presidential residences near Moscow entirely. He has stopped going to his retreat at Valdai Lake. He has been living primarily in modernized underground bunkers. And here is what makes that detail absolutely devastating. While Putin hides underground, Russian state television continues to broadcast footage of him appearing healthy, mobile, and fully in control. According to the intelligence report, that footage is pre-filmed. The man you see on Russian state television moving freely, meeting generals, signing documents, appearing confident, is a performance, recorded in advance, designed to hide the truth from his own people. If you find this as shocking as I do, share this video right now with someone who needs to see it. This information is not making mainstream headlines the way it should. Now here is where this story gets truly dangerous. The intelligence report doesn't just describe security measures, it names names. Specifically, it names Sergei Shoigu. For those who don't know, Shoigu was Putin's defense minister for over a decade, one of the most powerful men in Russia. One of the few people Putin appeared to genuinely trust. After the Wagner mutiny in 2023, when mercenary boss Yevgeny Prigozhin marched 25,000 armed men toward Moscow, Shoigu was removed as defense minister. Putin gave him a new title, Secretary of the Security Council. It sounded like a promotion. It was a cage. But according to European intelligence, Shoigu never stopped accumulating influence inside Russia's military command, and that influence is now being treated as a direct threat to Putin's survival. The report states clearly, Shoigu is associated with the risk of a coup attempt. Then, on March 5, 2026, Something happened that sent shockwaves through Russia's entire ruling class. Ruslan Salykov, Shoigu's former first deputy and closest associate, was arrested. Now, in any other country, the arrest of a senior official might look like routine law enforcement. But inside Putin's Russia, it was a message. For decades, there has been an unspoken agreement among Russia's ruling elite, a tacit guarantee. Stay loyal, and you stay protected. Your family stays safe. Your wealth stays intact. Your freedom is guaranteed. That agreement just broke, and every single member of Russia's inner circle noticed. Because if Chalikov, a man under Shoigu's protection, could be arrested, then nobody is safe anymore. And a system where nobody feels safe is a system that has already started to collapse. Tell me in the comments, do you think Shoigu is actually behind a coup plan? Or is Putin just becoming paranoid? This is one of the most debated questions in global intelligence circles right now. But here's the part of this story that almost nobody is covering. The intelligence report reveals something about Russia's internal security apparatus that is more disturbing than anything happening on the battlefield. A current FSB officer, speaking anonymously to independent Russian investigators, revealed this. His unit has been trying to obtain authorization for basic wiretapping operations, criminal investigations, normal law enforcement, and they cannot get approval. Because, in his exact words, all the equipment has been redirected to monitor the government and other state bodies. Think about what that means. Russia's own intelligence service, the FSB, the most feared domestic spy agency in the world, is now being used to spy on Russia's own government. Putin's surveillance machine, built to crush dissent among ordinary Russians, has been turned completely inward, against his own officials, against his own generals, against his own elite. And from inside that same system, a voice nobody expected is now speaking loudly. Ilya Remezlo is 42 years old. For years, he was one of Putin's most visible propagandists, a lawyer who appeared regularly on state television defending the invasion of Ukraine, a man who attacked opposition figures, celebrated Russian military operations, and publicly harassed every critic of the Kremlin. He was the system. Then, in March 2026, he walked away from everything. In a series of interviews that stunned Russian political circles, Remezlo said this: Vladimir Putin is not a legitimate president. Vladimir Putin must resign and be prosecuted as a war criminal and a thief. He described an absolutely deadlocked war, with losses that could drag on another 5 to 10 years. He claimed the conflict has already produced up to 2 million Russian casualties. And then, most critically, he said this about the people still inside Putin's government. They simply hate him, because he took everything away from them. He was not talking about ordinary Russians. He was talking about the officials, the generals, the elites who once served Putin faithfully and are now watching everything they built slowly disappear. And Remezlo went further. He predicted a palace coup, a revolution in Russia, by the end of 2026 or the beginning of 2027. He named 3 men who could emerge as Putin's successor: Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, Economic Development Minister Maxim Reshetnikov, and Kremlin aide and former Putin bodyguard Alexei Dyumin. When asked directly which one would take power, Remezlo refused to answer. If I name him, he said, they will arrest him tomorrow. So here is where we are tonight. A classified European intelligence report has confirmed what many suspected, but nobody could prove. Putin is hiding in bunkers, while state television broadcasts pre-filmed footage of a free man. His closest former ally is being named as a coup threat. His own surveillance machine has been turned against his own government. A man who built his entire career defending Putin on national television is now calling him a war criminal from inside Russia. And the Victory Day parade, Russia's most sacred annual demonstration of military strength, happened this week without a single tank or heavy military vehicle on Red Square, for the first time in modern Russian history. The official reason was drone threats from Ukraine. But think about what that image communicated to every general, every oligarch, Every intelligence officer in Russia watching that parade. The most powerful military state in Europe cannot safely place its own tanks on the street of its own capital city. That is not strength. That is the visual language of a government that is afraid of itself. Remislow ended one of his interviews with words that should be read very carefully. He said, "Guys, don't be afraid of anything. We will definitely win. And believe me, we only have a little time left to endure." He was not talking to the Ukrainian army. He was talking to the people still inside Putin's government. The ones who have not yet decided whether to leave. The ones who are waiting, watching, calculating, whether the man in the bunker is still worth protecting. And that question, right now, is the most dangerous thing in the world. Because when the people responsible for keeping a dictator in power start asking whether it is worth it, history tells us exactly what happens next. It has never ended well for the man at the top. If this video opened your eyes to something the mainstream media is not telling you clearly enough, subscribe to the Intel Room right now. Hit the notification bell, because what is coming next out of Moscow will move fast, and you need to be ready. This is the Intel Room. We will be watching.